Hey neighbor, so I did really like your jacket. It got some notice on Twitter, so props for you. Um, I normally don't wear jackets because I'm extremely prone to losing them. I normally just so I go somewhere and I'm wearing my jacket and then I take it off and then I never put it back on because I'm so used to not wearing jackets because I normally forget them that if I wear a jacket, I forget it because I don't normally wear jackets. This is very difficult to explain. Like, all right, today, for example, I went to get my haircut. Walked in, took my sweatshirt off, hung it up, got my haircut like right away. There was no line. It was awesome. I'll talk about the haircut a little bit later. So I get my haircut, I pay, I'm walking out the door, and the barber's like, "Hey, you forgot your jacket." And I was like, "I always forget my jacket. I don't understand." Like, I went home for the holidays and managed to leave all of my jackets at home, so I'm only working with sweatshirts right now. The good old SNES versus SNES debate. So I think it was like a year or two ago. I was on Twitter and I saw a poll by IGN and they asked this exact same question. It was like, so do you call it SNES or SNES? And honestly, I was pretty confused because you were the only one of my friends that really was like into old school gaming because I don't really think that the SNES was something that our generation of people got. But I had only heard it called SNES. So when someone said SNES in a YouTube video, I was like, that doesn't really make sense. But since then, I have heard more people that I follow call it a SNES, and it did make me double take the first few times, but now I'm kind of used to it. I'm kind of indifferent on it, is that I don't particularly care, but I would call it an SNES or Super Nintendo if I was going to say something. And then for the NES, I think it's just easier to call it the Famicom, although it was never known as the Famicom in the United States. I think it eliminates most of the confusion when you're like, oh yeah, I have a Famicom game, and they're like, oh, you mean the NES or the NES? The only NES is the main character from Earthbound, Mother. What are we calling it? From the thumbnail of the picture, I actually thought you had a Power Glove on, and I was like, wait, you totally didn't have a Power Glove when we were growing up. I think that's like one of the only things that you didn't have. So I just looked online, and apparently Power Gloves aren't that expensive. Like in my head, I was like, oh, they're probably like three, four, $500 to get one. But I'm assuming the ones that I'm seeing online don't work, or they don't have the sensors or whatever you need to make a Power Glove work. Um, so I was super bored, like all day long. And I think the reason that is because I don't have any mobile games anymore. So in the past, I would use mobile games to like pass the time when I'm doing something that's relatively mundane or repetitive, and I don't really need to put much thought into it. And I deleted all of my mobile games from my phone and my iPad. I think for Christmas, I think that's what I did, which was interesting. But I don't have any mobile games anymore. So are you playing any mobile games right now? I can think of one that you might be playing, but I don't know if you're still playing it. And should I get them? Actual question of the day. What is the worst haircut that you ever got? I mean, so I don't love this haircut. It's fine. Like, it's better than looking like a monster with hair growing out the back looking like a mullet. The person didn't use a straight edge around my ears or like back here. So there was like two like super long hairs that were like all the way out here that she just didn't cut. And I honestly I just thought it was like hair that just wasn't falling off. And I got home and I saw it and I'm like, this is actually ridiculous. I paid for this haircut. Should probably do it correctly. Am I spoiled? Like, I know where we come from, like, getting your haircut every week is something that people do. I've gone through like four or five barbers, and like barbers, I mean barbershops. This is just going off on a crazy tangent. So the person that I had gone to originally when I moved down to Virginia, um, I went to him. He was the first barber I ever went to, and I went to him for probably a year and a half, and then he decided that he was going to move. He told me probably he told me one of the last times I was in there. He's like, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to move, like moving out of the states." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I didn't actually think it was going to happen. And then I went in one day, and my barber wasn't there. I was like, "Hey, where's X, Y, or Z?" And they're like, "Oh, he moved." And I was like, "No, he's cut my hair for the past year and a half. What am I gonna do now?" So I tried another barber at that barber shop, and then I moved like 6 blocks further away from that barber shop, so I don't go there anymore. But I tried like 4 other barber shops within walking distance of my new apartment, and I'm gonna be honest with you, they're not good. And maybe this is just like a me being very particular about my haircut, but how are you not using a straight edge to cut hair? Maybe this is just a me thing, but what's the worst haircut you ever got? Why was it the worst haircut you ever got? Let me know. If you like the video, feel free to give us a thumbs up. If you love the video, make sure to subscribe. You can catch content like this every single weekday. You can follow me on Twitter at 90s Guy Kev. You can follow Tom on Twitter at 90s Guy Tom. You can follow both of us on Instagram. I just did my 10-year challenge. So if you want to look at what I looked like 10 years ago, go follow us on Instagram at the 90s Guys. And with that, I'll catch you tomorrow, Tom.